What's up guys, Sleepy Johnson here. Today we're about to take a look at my top 10 most anticipated horror game releases of 2017. So these games are supposed to come out sometime this year. I did throw one honorable mention in there just in case it squeaks out in 2017, but no guarantees on that one. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Number 10. HEDIN. HEDIN is a game I just recently learned about. It's a first-person horror action game. It takes place on an island that was discovered during the Peary and Scott expedition. And this island is inhabited by half-human, half-animal creatures that are the product of Dr. Moreau. So maybe you could say this is the island of Dr. Moreau. Now, the island is split into two areas. The north area of the island is populated by humans who are trapped and hidden behind the wall, seemingly built by themselves to keep them separated from the rest of the island, which is inhabited by various generations of these beasts that have been created. Now, these beasts are hostile towards one another, and it seems that they degenerate quickly and fall into madness, or revert back to their beast-like states mentally. They're originally created to be used as sort of workers or slaves, if you will. And so this is where the story begins. You are one of those beasts, and your task is a long and difficult exploration of the island to develop and understand it, all while respecting the laws of Dr. Moreau himself. HEDIN is set for a 2017 release and will be on PC. Number 9. Agony. Agony is a first-person horror survival game, and it takes place in hell. Many of you are probably already familiar with the game. You play as a tormented soul with no memories of your past. As you wander through hell, you can possess other lost souls, and you'll find you can even possess simple-minded demons. Your ultimate goal is to escape hell, and you find that there's only one way to do that, and that it's going to require meeting the mystical red goddess. So this game actually was completely funded by Kickstarter, and there was an exclusive demo that backers were given access to if they were of a certain tier. And I don't think the game is currently able to be backed any longer on Kickstarter, but I am severely looking forward to this game coming out in June of this year. It is coming out for PC, Xbox One, and PS4. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for this one, because it's going to be a game changer. Number 8. Scorn. Scorn is unlike anything I think we've seen before. It is also a first-person horror game, like the other two. Scorn is extremely atmospheric. It takes place in a nightmarish dream world. It's going to be an open-ended world with interconnected regions. The entire story is actually told in-game with no cutscenes. It's going to be very unforgiving in the sense that if you miss something important, you're basically out of luck. So the game really is going to show no sympathy. Players are going to experience full immersion as they're made very aware of your body movements. Also, there's not going to be any HUD, so that will definitely help immerse you into the game further. Items aren't just going to float in midair like in some games, but instead they'll be picked up with your hands. Machines and instruments, they're going to be operated by grabbing levers and control, and inventory management's also going to play a role in the game. So we just recently learned Scorn is going to be episodic, and Episode 1 is scheduled for a Quarter 1 release of 2017. However, we are at the end of Quarter 1 now, so maybe look for it in Q2. Number 7, Project White. Project White is a first-person horror RPG that takes place in Viking times. So you don't actually play a Viking or a hero of sorts, but instead you actually get to control the monster itself. So your species has been hunted to near extinction by man and are forced to live underground and in caves. You seemingly begin the game as a young version of the creature, which can be easily killed by even the weakest of humans, so you really have to learn how to survive as a youngling. Eventually, you will control an adult version of the creature, which is a much more formidable opponent for the humans. The game is said to be heavily influenced by monster movies, surrealist poetry, heavy metal album covers, and many pop cultural and mythical aspects. So there's not a whole lot known about this game yet, but definitely really excited to see what it has to offer. There's no official release date yet or time frame slated, but it is expected to show up sometime in 2017. So definitely keep a lookout for Project White. Number 6, Friday the 13th, the game. Friday the 13th, the game is a third-person multiplayer online horror survival game. Many of you are probably already familiar with it, as it is a 7 versus 1 online game. You can play as either a camp counselor or as Jason himself. There's going to be multiple iterations of Jason throughout the movies. You can also play as Tommy Jarvis from the movies, which is really cool. As a camp counselor, you can either survive until help arrives, escape, or you can try to take down Jason himself, although the latter option will certainly not be an easy feat. You'll be able to play in iconic locations from the movies like Camp Crystal Lake and Higgins Haven. Motion capture was actually done by Kane Hodder, who played Jason in a few of the movies. And I definitely expect this game to be everything we love and remember about the Friday the 13th series, right down to the visual fidelity of the 1980s itself. This game, it will also be featuring a single-player mode, as we just recently learned. And it is expected for a early 2017 release on PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Come to mommy, Jason. Come to mommy. Home, sweet.
Number 5, Last Year. Last Year is a first-person online horror survival game. This one will be 5 versus 1, and you can play as one of the 5 high schoolers or one of multiple killers. Now, as the students, who each have their own role to play, or class if you will, your goal is to escape from Eastside High alive. The students need to either work together, searching for resources and crafting weapons, or they can betray their friends to try to just make it out alive themselves. Now, on the other hand, each of the killers have their own unique weapons and abilities as well they can use to finish off the students. Like the Strangler, for instance, is quick and light, while the Slasher, he's all about going in heavy for the kill. Now, all the killers have a Predator mode, which lets them turn invisible to stalk the students and place traps, but the killer must be out of sight to enter or exit this mode. So really looking forward to this game, similar to Friday the 13th, the game, but it's going to have that first-person aspect, and it's going to be something that's, not familiar as, Friday the 13th is. Also, this game is going to have a 90s vibe, whereas Friday the 13th has an 80s vibe.
First, we'll place a trap here.
The game is scheduled for a Q3 release in 2017.
We hope you enjoyed this preview of last year. We look forward to sharing.
Hey, whoa. Before we go any further, guys, don't forget to hit that like button down there, somewhere down there, and subscribe. Share the video with your friends. Let them know some of these games are coming out. Let's get back to the list.
Number 4, Vampire. Vampire is a horror action RPG about a vampire doctor named Jonathan Reed who's coming to terms with being undead. He's torn between his Hippocratic Oath and his bloodthirsty nature. The game is going to take place in a period based on the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, but is actually set in London and takes place in 4 separate districts. So the player does not actually have to kill or feed in order to finish the game, but in order to level up your character, you will have to feed. The game actually features dialogue trees, which is very cool as well, which can sometimes be used to lure prey into a situation where they can be fed upon. Jonathan can also view the health status of citizens and even choose to heal them, which will in turn gain him more if he does feed on them. He can turn citizens into vampires as well, which could lead to some pretty cool things, maybe building some allies, something along those lines. We just have to wait and see. So much like a vampire also, you won't be able to enter a person's home unless you're invited in. So as far as combat goes, you will have to battle other vampires like yourself, as well as vampire hunters, which can also detect him. And in combat, you can wield improvised melee weapons as well as ranged weapons. And these weapons can be improved through crafting using items you find on bodies that you've looted. Vampire is set for a fourth quarter 2017 release on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Number 3, Outlast 2. Outlast 2 is a sequel to 2013's first-person found footage survival horror game. Outlast 2 takes place in the Sonoran Desert in Arizona. In the sequel, we play as Blake Langerman, who, along with his wife, are investigating a dilapidated rural area in Supai, Arizona. They are following the mysterious murder of a pregnant woman known only as Jane Doe. During his search, he travels through a village cut off from society where a cult believes the end of days are upon us. Outlast 2 is going to see the same gameplay return from the first installment, including the use of hiding mechanics as there is no combat except for scripted events. Batteries will become the main item to be managed in inventory as they are needed to power the camera for night vision. A new mechanic will be Langerman's glasses, which when knocked off will actually limit the player's vision. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays into the game. Outlast 2 recently made headlines after being banned in Australia for the game containing sexual violence. The sexual violence made it ineligible for a rating, and of course a game cannot be sold without a rating. So definitely looking forward to this one. It is set to come out about a month from now, April 25th, 2017. Be sure to check out the channel. I will be posting Outlast 2 gameplay for sure. Number 2, Ghost Theory. Ghost Theory is going to be a little bit different than your traditional first-person horror game. This one focuses on paranormal investigation. And Ghost Theory, you're going to play as the apprentice of one Professor Frost, who is the head of the secret university paranormal research team at, so far, unnamed university. Your character is a clairvoyant, and in the game, you are going to be visiting real-world locations known for hauntings and paranormal activity. Now, during your investigations, you'll use an array of tools used by real-life paranormal investigators, like UV lamps, full-spectrum cameras, EMF meters, EVP recorders, and a pendulum. Rather than include jump scares like traditional horror games, the entities you are investigating will need to be coaxed to appear rather than being triggered by sequence in the game. The game is going to feature VR support, and we should hopefully be seeing a release in December 2017 for PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And what would a top 10 horror list be without Allison Road in it? Now, Allison Road is my honorable mention just due to the fact that we might see it in 2017, but there's no official word really. Now, it is a first-person survival horror game, for those of you who don't know. It takes heavy inspiration from PT and is completely set inside of a British townhouse. So in Allison Road, you will take on the role of the unnamed protagonist who will wake up one day without any recollection of prior events. Now, over the course of 5 nights, it's going to be your objective to uncover the whereabouts of your family, unravel the mysteries of the house, and face off against Lily, who I believe that's who we see here in this trailer, and other dark entities that are nested deep within the walls of your townhouse. And you must do all this while the clock relentlessly ticks towards 3 a.m. Not 100% sure what happens at 3 a.m., but I think that's going to be one of the exciting things to find out about Allison Road. This game has been on and off in production. It was canceled, then it came back, but it looks like, you know, we're definitely going to see this one released at some point in time. Fingers crossed it'll be 2017, and currently this does it will include native VR support. I believe they've only tested it with the Oculus Rift dev kit, but once it releases, I'm hoping to see, you know, maybe full support for even the Vive. And number 1, Visage. What would a top 10 horror game list be without Visage as well? This is my number 1 because it is supposed to come out in 2017. The Steam Greenlight page actually cites second quarter 2017. So fingers crossed here. Visage is definitely heavily PT inspired, as you can see. It takes place in a secluded town in the 1980s, in a home where dozens of families have lived. Many of these families have died brutally, and some of them just live their lives placidly in their home. So in the game, you will be shown and will relive fragments of history that will send chills down your spine. Now, each of these fragments of history that you're going to relive will drag you closer to, you know, what's really behind this dark history of the house. So you get to witness firsthand how people died in the house, and just uncover the horrors that lie behind each doorway and down each stairwell. So the game is going to support VR, which I'm very excited about. And we're definitely hoping to see this game out in Q2 of this year.
Well, thanks for watching my top 10 most anticipated horror video games coming out in 2017. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more stuff like this, leave me a comment and let me know you like my top 10s. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share the video with your friends. Let them know these games are coming out. And I'll see you guys next time.